Do not trust no African. At this point, I do not know who need to hear this, but African nationals, do not trust them. I always giving African nationals the benefit of the doubt, and they always proving me wrong in one way, shape, or form. Why African nationals are here talking about they glad their ancestor sold slave? They glad their ancestor sold them by the ship. They're so proud that the ancestor sold the useless ones. What the f*** you on the internet talking about? If you argue with FBA, talk about FBA. Why you telling people that? And I you wanna see how much likes these pussy will get. You wanna see how much likes they get. And I'm sure it's other African liking those because there's no one from the Caribbean or the South America or the North America in their right mind, or Europe that are in the Arabs who will get sold in their right mind to like those videos. So I know all those thousands of likes, I know it's African liking it. African. I'm not saying you won't have exception, but right now, I'm saying do not trust no African at all. They're willing to sell you out for a buck. They're willing to sell you out for $1. Not saying no other one don't sell you out, but trust me, someone on here glorifying what their ancestor did by selling slave. Selling someone to another race to control their own flesh and blood. Are you coming here in this modern time, knowing all the history, telling me you glad your ancestor do that? Yo, go suck on the mother. You are not different from FBA. You are the same thing as you are worse than FBA. You are 100 times worse than FBA. Shame on you. Shame on you for overreaching. Why are you talking about FBA and you overreaching like that? You're talking everybody else who are involved in the slave trade, which is over several dozen countries. So next time, all me have to say, learn from my experience. Me have experience with African nationals, and I'm telling you, do not trust them. They're materialistic to the max. They're more materialistic than you in a more wealthier country. That me I tell you. You see, African nationals, they're more materialistic than you who is in a wealthier country than where they're coming from. So, for example, someone coming from a place that the chance of you making $1,000 is like 1 in a trillion is the same, and you come from a place that the chance of you making $1,000 is probably 1 in 1,000. Yeah, they come here and materialistic more than you. When I say materialistic, they value material things more than you. They look at everything in dollars. They count everything in dollars. They put money over you. When you talk to them girls and all that, they always wonder what you do, money and all that, money wise and all that. Do not trust no African, yo. And the reason why I make this video is because some pussy will come on the internet getting thousands of likes talking about they're glad their ancestors selling slave. And
This innovation by Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation follows research showing poor health outcomes for African women, particularly those in underserved communities, and limited R&D funding for women's health conditions beyond cancer. Quote, today's women's health issues are still too often misunderstood, misdiagnosed, or ignored. Although women generally live longer than men, they spend 25% more of their lives in poor health. The new contraceptive and affordable hormonal intrauterine device, or an IUD, is designed to be efficient for up to 8 years and will provide a discreet option for women in low-income households. Quote, a new hormonal IUD designed for affordable and a user-centered experience is being launched in Kenya, Nigeria, and possibly India. The device is inserted into the uterus, where it releases progestin, a synthetic hormone that thickens cervical mucus to prevent sperm from reaching and fertilizing an egg. Ro Fong described the revolutionary contraceptive patch, stating, quote, imagine getting 6 months of contraceptive protection by pressing a small patch into your skin, discreet and self-administered. She further explained that the patch is embedded with microneedles containing progestin, which delivers protection over several months. The foundation emphasized that the new program will, quote, ensure that women and girls in low and middle income countries can access the contraceptives and family planning information they want, and thus exercising their right to decide whether to have children, and if so, when and how many. Dr. Anita also noted that the program builds on the foundation's 25-year work in maternal and child health, aimed at ending preventable deaths, eliminating deadly infectious diseases, and lifting millions out of poverty by 2045. Quote, many women in these communities want to have control over their reproductive health, but do not use existing contraceptive methods because of male interference, concerns about side effects, or lack of access to options that meet their specific needs. As a result, nearly half of all pregnancies worldwide, about 45%, are unplanned, and that was stated by the foundation. With the help of regional partners and government, the Gates Foundation will expand across the self-injectable contraceptive, or the DMPA, SC, to at least 35 countries, including Uganda, Senegal, Malawi, Nigeria, Zimbabwe, and the Democratic Republic of Congo. According to the foundation, sub-Saharan Africa has some of the highest rates of unmet need for family planning globally, with barriers ranging from cost and distance to health facilities to cultural oppositions. Many countries also face high rates of adolescent pregnancies, maternal mortality, and limited reproductive health infrastructure. By targeting Africa, the initiative seeks to provide longer-lasting, affordable options in regions where demand for family planning remains highly and largely unmet. As Melinda French Gates emphasized, quote, contraceptives are one of the most powerful tools we have. It puts the power in the hands of young girls and women to plan their families and, quite honestly, to plan their future. According to the United States Department press briefing held on August 7th of 2025, the funding is part of Washington's broader humanitarian commitment to Africa, and it's expected to support millions of vulnerable households suffering from worsening hunger conditions by providing food assistance programs. Quote, the United States is providing an additional $93 million to treat nearly 1 million children suffering from malnutrition with life-saving, ready-to-use therapeutic foods produced by American manufacturers. According to Tommy Pigott, Principal Deputy Spokesperson for the Department of State, entire position stock of RUTF amounts to 1,209 metric tons. However, the funding will also facilitate the production of additional 11,285 metric tons to meet escalating needs. The assistance package includes essential foods, commodities, target nutritional support for several malnourished children, and emergency logistical aid. The largest tranche of United States emergency food assistance comes amid worsening humanitarian conditions across much of sub-Saharan Africa and beyond. According to the recent State Department update, the $93 million package will support life-saving interventions in 13 countries, which include Haiti, Malawi, Niger, Ethiopia, Sudan, South Sudan, Nigeria, Madagascar, Central African Republic, Democratic Republic of Congo, Djibouti, Kenya, and Chad. The funds will also be used to distribute the remaining pre-positioned stock of ready-to-use therapeutic foods, or RUTFs, and to support continued production to meet urgent nutritional needs. The intervention arrives at a critical time following the formal shutdown of the United States Agency for International Development, or the USAID, once the world's largest aid agency under the Trump administration cost-cutting reforms. The closure marked a significant shift in the global development landscape and has drawn concern from both former United States presidents and international health experts. While the new funding is expected to generate diplomatic goodwill ahead of major global development summits, analysts caution that one-off injections are insufficient. Without long-term investments in climate, smart agriculture, resilient food systems, and rural infrastructure, many of the targeted countries risk reoccurring dependence on emergency support. Still, if effective deployed, this package could provide vital short-term relief and reaffirm America's strategic role in responding to Africa's deepening food insecurity crisis. Now, the interesting thing to me, and the reason I wanted to read off all of this along with having that video, is to showcase the ignorance that is directly out there when it deals with some of these Africans and how it is that they want to sit up there and move, and how you have a lot of the Africans out there who are on TikTok who are able to see this and witness this. They are just egging it on. They're allowing these types of things to go on. Who in their right mind would decide to look at a group of people and you want to mock what it is historically that they went through? And knowing the fact that historically, because they went through this along with a variety of other things historically, it's the whole reason why your people from Africa are able to come here to the United States and be safe and sound and also be successful and also send you guys money back home. Like I said, it's crazy to me. And this is not the only video that I have where it deals with some type of form of a mock slave auction. I have a video where it was, I think I might have got it directly off of X, but in Africa, you had Africans dressed up, like slaves. I guess they were supposed to be Black American slaves, right? And they were, going through there, I guess, acting as though that, they were just being, auctioned off or going to the plantation, whatnot, or whatever. Maybe some of them might have been getting whipped. I'm not sure. But at the close to, I want to say the 20-second, maybe 25, close to 30-second mark, you saw somebody wearing some casual clothes and a Trump mask. And I'm like, that's a bit weird, because I'm like, Trump is not over in Africa. And, in a sense, that this wouldn't, make any type of sense, realistically, given the place and the time and everything in the sort. But then when you put it together, it's like, oh, this is supposed to be Black Americans, right? And then you got somebody who was African wearing the Trump Halloween mask to try to act as though like, oh, well, Trump is basically the slave master of the Black Americans. And, this is basically you guys and all this. Like I said, it's crazy how you guys want to move out here. And it's even more interesting how time and time again, I'll get people directly in my comment section like, oh, Seiji, you're smarter than this. You shouldn't be, directly, dealing with this type of content and all this. I'm like, dude, if you really got all of that type of energy directly for me, how about you direct that towards the African or the other people directly out there that want to mock Black Americans? Like, it's crazy to me that when Black Americans want to speak, when it is that we want to give a rebuttal, when it is that we want to defend ourselves properly, everybody has a problem. People are like, oh, take the higher ground. You shouldn't be doing this. Is below you guys. I don't got no time for that. I do not have no time for that. I literally watched a live stream on TikTok where you had some Africans directly up there and those who are from elsewhere that wanted to have some type of conversation with those who consider themselves or call themselves African American and different things of that nature, and wanted to talk about the whole thing of in between them and Africans and all this other type of stuff. Man, like I said, it's just crazy. Like I said, people want to have these conversations because it brings numbers. People want to have these conversations because it will bring eyes to the platform that they have. And it's not realistically like they want to have dialogue. It's not like they want to really have a sit down. Like listening to a African guy complain about the attitudes that take place in business. Like, let's say if it was like a dollar store or whatnot or whatever, and you'll have as he described, again, this was how he described, I may just clip the part of it directly in here so you guys can get a better reference. But he went on to basically state that respect, or whatnot should be, given and all this other type of stuff. And why is he getting this type of attitude and getting called names and yada, yada. I'm like, dog, that's just in America. That happens. Like that is just how it is. And I've seen attitudes like that from other people as well in the United States. But we're going to keep it directly on the black community, right? Like I said, that just is what it is. Stuff happens. People have bad days. Some people just got bad attitudes. But that's not every day. That's not all the time. And you're not going to go all over the black community. That's going to be the consistent thing. 10 out of 10. This is what you always... No. Like I said, there's been tons of times I done dealt with black women at cash registers. I ain't had no issue. I ain't had no problem. We actually struck up a conversation. Had a very nice conversation. Very polite. No problems. Very helpful. So, like I said before, it's crazy that when you have Africans out here on social media, they want to specifically highlight bad interactions. They always want to highlight, like I said, everybody always has a bad story when it deals with black people. Everybody has a bad story. And I'm like, so y'all don't got nothing good. Nothing at all. Like I said, I'm more than likely, for me, like I said, that dude in that video is African. I'm pretty sure that I've been around and know of more black American people than he ever has. Because again, I have family. He does not. Right. So again, this is something that I'm in deep, right? This is family. This is community, right? This is what we grow up. This is my ecosystem, right? And like I said, I can point out a variety of different things, but I specifically can sit up there and tell you the positives that I've had from all. I can talk about the young guys directly out here. I can talk about the older folks directly out here, the elders. I could talk about the black men out here. I could talk about the black women and the black kids. Again, all of those I can list positive, highly positive things, positive interactions that I've had with people, my own people in my own community. But you're not going to get that from a lot of other people that are not from the black community. They all want to harp on the negative. That's all they want to see. That's all they want to focus on. It's like that's the glamour of it. It's like, oh, you was around black people, like, so tell me how was it, like, did you see the gangbangers, and like, y'all want to focus on the most detrimental, negative stuff directly out there that always gets reposted, always gets reported. In some instances, you got things that are made up just so that people can have something to directly say. It's the same thing that white folks sit up there and do out here. They will, some of them have never been around anybody black at all, but then they'll magically come out of nowhere talking about, oh, they got a friend that somebody black, did something to them and all this other type of stuff. Pretty much just like the video that I gave you guys before, where the white woman decided that she messed up. She made a mistake. She was going to call her manager in order to prove to the black father that she is correct. The manager told her to give her a refund. AKA, you're wrong. Give the refund. This is customer service. This is what we're going to sit up there and do. You probably did sit up there and push something wrong, and gas did not come out, but he did get charged directly for it. Like I said before. And she wanted to go off on this wild tangent and whatnot, hyperventilating. I'm sick. I'm not even feeling good today. And basically saying that black men are dangerous because things have happened to her by way of several black men. I'm like, wild accusations, and again, of which she more than likely has no proof of. She more than likely looked at, like, anyway, they're going to go into a whole tangent. Like I said, that's the whole main point. Everybody out here always has a negative story, but if you paid them $100, they couldn't actually give you a positive story of which they actually experienced. I'm not talking about anything that they've seen or heard, one that they've experienced, maybe even 5. They couldn't even sit up there and do it. Because again, that's not what they're looking for. They want to be a part of this nice, large, in a sense, small circle of people that focus directly on the negatives. And they make some type of profit. It doesn't matter if it's emotional profit or if it's physically based profit. They all decide to profit off of it somehow because people love negativity. And it's crazy work. Never at a point in time in life have I ever thought that, yeah, let me just start making up or just whatnot or whatever about Africans directly. Let me just start, really going at them terribly. It's like, no, anything that you see at this current moment in time, it is in response to everything that I am able to see as a content creator online by way of those out there who are African. I'm talking about directly in the lands directly in the lands. I'm not talking about the ones transplanted here, the ones that decided to run over here, being a track star and all that. I ain't talking about them. I'm talking about the ones that are back over there, still there. Like I said, it's crazy work. And it's, again, it's very tiring. Black people got to protect and defend themselves home. And now we got to worry about external outside forces who, quote unquote, look like us. Talking about us crazy out here. It's wild, man. But anyways, let me know what you guys think about this video and everything. Now listen in the comment description below. And as always, peace, love, and stay tuned for the next video.